Once you open up the iMovie application, you're going to start a new project, so click File, and then select New Movie. This opens up the editing window that we're going to be working with in this project. Now, before we go any further, we're going to need to create a save file to save our work to. This file will be uploaded to your Google Drive after you've worked on your project today, so you can continue working on your project on a different Mac if needed. At the end of the tutorial, I will show you how to save your work to this file, but for now we will just create the save file on your desktop. You're going to click File, Open Library, and select New. This will open up a save window, and here you can type in your file name. I'll be naming mine London Trip. Next, we'll select where we want it to save. Just to make it easier to find, I always save it to the desktop. So where it says Where, select Desktop, and click Save. Now, if you look at your desktop, you should see an icon that looks like film strips with the name you saved it as. Later, after we worked on our project and saved to this file, you will move this file to your Google Drive. Now we can actually begin working on our project. The first thing we will need to do is import our media. And media here just means videos, images, audio, things like that. So we're going to click Import Media, and then the Import Media box will open up. Here we can navigate to our saved media files. To make it easier to find, I've just put all my media I'll be working with in one file located on my desktop so it's all together. I'm going to navigate to that file, open it, and select my 3 images. Once selected, I'm going to click Import Selected, and that will put it in that editing area. You can see my 3 images there that I've imported. It can seem tricky to add more media, and you can add more media at any point during your project. But that Import Media icon is gone now, so to add more, we will click File, Import Media, and it again opens up the Import Media box. I'm going to navigate back to my file and select a few videos and click Import Selected again to add those videos. Next, we need to move our media down to the timeline area so we can begin modifying them. I'm going to click and drag down my image of Westminster Abbey, and when you let go, it automatically sets it in the timeline at 4 seconds. So if I were to play the video at this point, it's going to show this photo for 4 seconds. This duration can easily be changed by clicking and dragging the sides of the image to the right or left to make it last longer or shorter, depending on your preference. Now I'm going to move down my first video clip. Again, you just click and drag it down to the timeline. To view more of your timeline, you can use the scroll bar at the bottom to navigate to the end of the timeline. Or you can go over to the smaller scroll icon next to Settings, and this will zoom in or out on your timeline so you can see what you're working with easier as you're moving media down and rearranging it. It's a good idea to zoom it back in when you're actually editing videos and removing clips so you can see what you're doing better. I'm going to add my other video down here, and now we can learn how to clip out parts of the video that you may not want in your final project. When you move the scroll line, you can just move your mouse over the video clip to get a preview of it without having to actually play the video clip. This is helpful in finding the exact moment where you want to begin editing your clip. So this is along the River Thames, and you can see there's a man in the beginning that moves out of the way, and I want to edit him out. I'm going to go right to where his backpack cuts out of the shot, and I'm going to right click, and on the MacBook you right click by doing Control click. And then there's several options here, but you're going to select Split Clip to split that clip into 2 parts. Now I want to remove a section at the end of the video too, so I'm going to move that scroll bar right to the end of this light post, right click, and select Split Clip. Now the video is in 3 separate parts, and I can select the 2 that I don't want and delete them, leaving me with a section that I do want. To trim a clip that you just don't want the end or beginning of, it's very easy. So here I have a video of soldiers walking at Windsor Castle, and I continued videoing the tourists that follow them. So I want to edit the tourist out and just have the soldiers walking. I'm going to move my cursor back to find where I want it to end, where the soldiers are walking, and I'm going to right click and select Split Clip. This will split it into 2 different clips, and then I can select the unwanted video and delete it. There are some editing options for images as well. So going back to the Westminster Abbey photo, and I'm just going to make this a little larger so I can see what I'm working with. If you kind of preview it, you can see it has a zooming effect on it. That's called a Ken Burns effect. So going to the crop icon, you can see there's three different style options. There's fit, which just simply fills the photo into your frame. There's the crop to fit, where you can actually manipulate the size of the photo. You can crop it and you can change the center of it. And then there's the Ken Burns effect, which can be a little bit trickier to work with. But first you will move the start box where you want the image to begin showing at. So I'm going to move mine down. And then you have this little yellow arrow, and depending on where that's pointing, that's where it's going to do the zoom panning effect. And then you move your end box where you want it to end up at. So for the Abbey here, I want it to kind of zoom in on that center circular part to make it kind of dramatic. And we can see what it looks like here. And that's way too fast, so I'm going to make my image last a little bit longer so that we can appreciate the Ken Burns effect. And as you can see, it just has kind of a slow, dramatic panning effect upon the Abbey. Now, when you import videos into iMovie, it also imports the sound that's attached to that video along with it. In this video, there's a man coughing in the background, and I want to remove the audio part of it. So to remove it, select the video you want it removed from, right-click on it, and that's Control-click on the MacBooks, and select Detach Audio. That's actually going to remove the audio from the video and put it below the video as a separate entity that can be modified or deleted. You can make it shorter if you want, or just click the audio section and delete it to remove it altogether. To add audio, iMovie does come with some built-in jingles and sound effects. If you want longer songs, you're going to need to Google royalty-free songs to download to your computer and then add those through iTunes to your project. But I'm just going to show you what iMovie comes with already, as there's quite a selection. To add audio, click the Audio tab, and with sound effects selected, browse the options. They have animal noises, short jingles, background talking noises. They have a lot of options. You can also see how long these audio clips are here, and you can preview them from the screen before adding them as well. For the photo of the Abbey, I'm going to find a bell noise, so I'm going to select Bell Tower, and then click and drag it down to the area below the images and videos on the timeline. It's going to automatically put it at its full length, but I'm going to shorten it to just play during the image of the Abbey. Just click and drag it to the desired length. There's also an option to make the sound fade in or fade out. Just hover over the green audio bar and these little minus icons come up. Click and drag those in or out depending on how dramatic of a fade in or out you want. Next, I will show you how to put in titles and credits. iMovie gives you a lot of different options here, and there's even a Star Wars option. You can move your cursor over to get a preview of it without dragging it down first. I'm liking the look of this one, so I'm going to click and drag it down to the beginning of my project, and it will move everything over for me. And then you can click and drag the sides to make it longer or shorter depending on how long you want your title to be. To change the text, you just double click in the preview area, and on this one I'm going to name it My London Trip. And it's important to make it save. It's important to click outside of the preview area. I didn't do that there, so it didn't save. To add a title over an image, just again click and drag your title down and place it above the image. And then you're going to need to change the size to where however long you want it to display over your image. And again, click the title, the text, and name it. On this one I'm going to name it Westminster Abbey. And you can also change the font, the size of the font, the color, if you want it bold or italic. There's a lot of different options here. You can modify it too. I'm going to make this kind of a red to stand out. And then it's important again to click outside of the preview box so it saves it. And then we can look and see what these titles look like here. Now I'm going to go in and add some credits at the end. So going back to the title page, I'll select the credits I want and drag them down. And then I'm going to just highlight all of this text here and delete it so that I can type what I want. In this case, I'm just going to type in credits. And then if you do your own narration, you might want to give yourself credit. Also, if you use royalty-free music, if you use images like by Pixabay, this is where you will give credit here at the end of your project. So once we've got what we want on there, we can kind of get a preview of it. And to add just a little bit more, I'm going to add a background to it. So I'm going to move that clip up above the other media, and then I'm going to select backgrounds and select one that I like. Again, you can preview these and see what they look like. I'm kind of liking the blue one, so I'm just going to click and drag it down below. If you don't click it below the credit video clip, then it's going to just cover it up. So you have to make sure that your text is above the background. And then you'll just need to play around with it and change it so that they're the right size. And we can look and see what this is going to look like. It just kind of gives it a neat underwater effect. To add transitions, click the Transitions tab and you can see iMovie has several options to choose from. These can be previewed by moving your cursor over them. To move them down, just click and drag it down between the media where you want it. I'm going to use a few different kinds here. Transitions are nice so you don't have just a blunt transition between media. It's nice to have something there to give way to the next image or video. When you're done working on your project for the day, even if you're completely finished, it's a good idea to still save to that save file we created at the beginning. To do this, click File, hover over Share, and click File again. This will bring up the file save box. You can name your file and click Next. It's important here to save it as the same name you saved it before. So I saved mine as London Trip, and make sure the location is still set to desktop so it will just save over the file you already made. Next, click Save, and now that file has been updated. So be sure to move that file to your Google Drive so you can work on this project on a different Mac if needed. iMovie does save automatically, so if you continue to work on your project using the same MacBook, you won't need to upload this file every time. It's just a good idea to do this in case something happens. You don't want to lose all of your hard work. Once you've completely finished your project and you're ready to upload it to YouTube, click File, Share, and select YouTube. This will bring up a save box. Name your project and then click Sign in the bottom left corner. This will prompt you to sign in to YouTube. Your Gmail account can be used to sign into YouTube, and then this will open up YouTube in the browser and you'll follow the prompts there to upload your video.